Hi, everyone. To take notes in this unit, typically we do grapes notes with your different sections that we need to learn about each civilization. But to give you some historical context for what you're doing in your project, we are going to be taking notes in a timeline format. Okay, it's going to be a little bit different, and my camera angle is going to be a little bit different as we go through this so I can show you what I'm doing. But the first thing we're going to do is build a timeline. All right. So you're going to take a piece of paper. I'm using a blank white one. You can use whatever feels appropriate to you. We're going to fold it in half the hot dog way, so the long way. All right. So that we get a nice clean line right down the middle. Okay. And then we're going to draw that line. So I'm going to use the fold to draw a nice thick line across the middle so that I can be clear about where I am and where you are. Okay. I'm also going to label this Muslim Empires. That way, when I go back to look at these notes and to use them to study, I will know what it is I'm looking at. So Muslim empires and the line in the middle. Okay. Okay. So here's my timeline. And what I'm going to do is actually start it at the year 600. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm doing this in big black numbers so you can see it. Okay, so 600. And then we're going to end at 1300 down here. First, in 622, so we're going to draw a line here and label it 622. Muhammad left Mecca. Okay. Now, if you remember, Muhammad is the founder of Islam, and the leaders of Mecca did not appreciate that he was preaching monotheism. Okay. They really wanted him to be, they thought it was going to keep people from coming there to trade. So they thought it was a dangerous idea. Okay. Muhammad leaves Mecca. This is when the Muslim calendar begins. He returns to Mecca in 630. Okay. Now, basically what happens here in 661, so we'll draw another line here about halfway, is a group takes power called the Umayyads. Umayyads take power. Okay, 661. Now, the Umayyads take power. They are a family. So you may be thinking, well, what happened in here? What happened in here, right? So in that space, there was a series of leaders called the four. You can look here. Four rightly guided caliphs. A caliph is a leader of the Muslim community, the Ummah. The Ummah was the Muslim community, a leader of the Ummah who came after Muhammad, and they had to be political leaders and religious leaders. Okay. Now, when the Umayyads took power, there was a split. Some people thought that the Umayyads were, okay to lead the Muslim community, that they were doing a good job, that they were trying to follow the example of Muhammad, and so that was okay. Some other people thought that the leader should be someone who was related to Muhammad, that the caliph should have to have some of the same bloodline. Okay. And so there was this split between the Sunni and the Shia Muslims. Now, today, there are religious differences between the Sunni and the Shia. For example, the Shia believe that a Messiah is going to be returning to earth. The Sunni do not believe that. And so there are some differences in prayer and holidays that are celebrated. But originally, this split was political. It was about who would be the caliph. In 750, a group called the Abbasids took control. So the Umayyads lost power, and the Abbasids took power. Now, the Umayyads were Arab. They came from the Arabian Peninsula. The Abbasids were Persian. So they came from the area of the Middle East that we know as Persia, okay, today Iran. So the Abbasids took power in 750, okay? In this space, so between 661 and 750, they had gotten so much bigger, okay? So the Muslim empire had expanded and stretched from the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the Indus River Valley. And you're going to see a map of that. 762, so soon after this, okay, 762, they moved the capital of the empire to Baghdad. So 762, the capital moves to Baghdad. And Baghdad, still in the same location today, right, near the Tigris River in Iraq today. Back then, it was the capital. It became a real center of Muslim learning and wealth and achievement. Abbasids are not conquered, okay? They don't lose control fully until 1258. So put a thing down here. So 1258, all of this CE, okay? A group called the Mongols that you may or may not have heard of, okay? They conquer Baghdad. And until then, the Abbasids are in control of it, and they are considered to be the leaders. And in between, so this whole reign of the Abbasids from around 800 to 1200, so this whole span in here is considered to be the golden age of Muslim culture. I get to do this with a fancy golden pen. Okay, so that's considered to be the golden age of Muslim culture. Part of that is due to the establishment sometime in the early 800s, so sometime around here, of the House of Wisdom in Baghdad. Okay, this was started by Caliph al-Mamun. And this is basically a university, a translation center, a place where all sorts of different people from across the empire, from across the Muslim world, can come together and study. So although, this is a golden age intellectually, it's in this time that all of the achievements you're researching are developed and improved. They were losing territory, okay? So they lose territory, but are unified culturally. So the Abbasids do not control with their government as large of a space, okay? But everyone in the area knows that Baghdad, the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, is the center of Muslim intellectual life. Everyone's speaking Arabic, right? Because that has to go with Islam. And people are reading the Quran. They're all following the laws of Sharia. And so there's this common law, language, religious connection, even though they're not all following the same government. I'm going to add some resources for you about the Sunni Shia split and also the House of Wisdom and Baghdad. So you can take a look at those if you would like more information. Thank you very much.